Our next guest is rapidly becoming the guest who needs no introduction. Our friend Igor Novikov, former advisor to Ukrainian President Zelensky, who remains near Kyiv with his family. So I saw in President Zelensky today a lot of what you bring to our understanding of why you stayed and why you fight. And I wonder your reaction to our reaction to President Zelensky's speech.
Well, first of all, I'm really impressed with the reaction that I saw, on the Hill. I think people are starting to wake up to the fact that the world has changed quite a lot over the last 3 weeks, and most likely will never be the same again. I'll elaborate further on what the president has said. First of all, freedom and liberty are non-partisan, so this is the moment in history where we need to forget our kind of party alliance, our minor beliefs, and focus on what's right for our children and for the future. So that's the first important message. The second one is about the security architecture. Global security architecture is dead at the moment. NATO is still waiting to be tested by Putin, but if we look at the UN, Russia has the veto power within the Security Council. So it's like having Hitler appoint his own judges at Nuremberg. It needs updating. Yeah. We need to make sure that we create global peace somehow. Otherwise, we're going to see the repetition of the 20th century, but with nuclear weapons this time. And it's a petrifying concept.
There is something about the brutality of Russia's indiscriminate bombing of your country and in places like Mariupol, and I won't read it again, but the tragedy is in such a volume. Your president talked about 150 children are dead, and he said this: there's no sense in life if it can't stop death. Tell me what, because I think there's this sense here that we've drawn this line about not getting drawn into World War III, but there's a lot that you want and need that your president has asked for, that our president announced in an address answering his speech. And tell me how some of those weapon systems help you protect your skies.
Well, look, the fact of the matter is that, Ukraine has the most important weapon of all to fight, the advance of authoritarianism towards Europe. And that is, our defiance and our resolve and our beliefs. So, we have the main weapon, but we need ammo for for that weapon. Yeah. It's incredibly difficult. And I'm speaking from experience. I'll tell you a small personal story at the moment. It's difficult to fight tanks with sticks and with Kalashnikovs. Yeah. And it's incredibly horrible to see that kind of cruise missile fly over your house. And I've seen a few by now. I know that it's going to hit some residential building because, Russians are adamant to kill civilians first and foremost. And you can't do anything about it. You just have to watch it fly and, pray that that it misses. Usually they don't. And in Mariupol, yes, it's a horrible story. What they did, there was a drama theater where over 1,000 civilians, mostly women and children, were sheltering to be taken out of the city. And Russia dropped one of the largest unguided bombs they have on that theater, and it's destroyed. So we don't know the number of casualties, but my guess would be, it's hundreds of women and children. The personal story, as I promised. Look, I had to live probably through the most horrific experience of this war so far. I have a close relative who's been a Ukrainian soldier in the front lines since the war started in 2014. He's done, I think, 3 or 4 tours of duty by now. And he literally called me 2 days ago to say goodbye to me because they got ambushed and he didn't know whether he was going to make it. So it's one of those phone calls. The only thing that kind of it reminded me of was, those conversations, from the World Trade Center towers, when the relatives called their loved ones to say goodbye. And it was exactly like that. Luckily, he made it through. They're still fighting, but they're out of the encirclement. But it's just I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So it's terrible, this war. It needs to be stopped.
Your president made, I think, an impact with everything he said, but also with the video that he showed of some of what we've been covering today, the brutality. the toll being paid by civilians and by children. But also this reminder that 22 days ago, we might have talked about something, but it would not have been your war-torn city and country. And I wonder what that's like. I wonder how your kids are doing on day 21.
Well, my kids are doing okay. I mean, relatively speaking. One of the things that worries me is we've had a conversation about their future today, and really dawned on me that I can't promise them anything. I don't know what the future holds, and the most worrying part of that is not only for us and for my family, but for the world as a whole. Because I mean, President Putin delivered some really petrifying remarks today, and I urge you to to read through them and notice them. He named the enemy. He said the collective West is the enemy. He announced purges within his own society, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be stopping. It sounds very reminiscent of what Hitler was saying like a couple of years before the Second World War. So we need to do our best to stop him in his tracks now before it's too late. Because once again, the only major difference between the 20th century and now is nuclear and chemical weapons, and we don't want that for the sake of our children to happen. If I may, two announcements, because look, I'm trying to make my interviews matter. There's a reason I'm wearing my Metallica t-shirt. First of all, we're grateful to Metallica for a donation that they've made towards, humanitarian needs in Ukraine. But I want to elaborate on one message that the president keeps delivering. The only group of people who can stop a potential global conflict in its tracks is the Russian people. And the Russian people are being encircled by the walls of propaganda. So, they're banning Instagram, they're banning Facebook there, and, it's turning into North Korea. The only people who can reach their Russian fans and the Russian audience are musicians, are celebrities, are movie actors. And they encourage you, in the spirit of the 1980s, when the USSR was still there, to get out there and deliver that message of peace to the Russian nation, to their Russian fans, explain to them that any conflict can be worked out, without having to resort to genocide and violence. And it's important because the Russian people can stop everything. And look, I mean, if you think it's not serious, I'm risking my life actually saying it loud on TV. Being proactive. So the only thing you're going to be risking is 30 seconds of your life to record that video. So I strongly urge you to reach out to the Russian fan base with the message of peace before it's too late.
Let's be really tactical and tell me what that looks like. We reported that, and I believe Telegram channels are the things most readily available to Russians seeking information from the outside world, right? My understanding is that in Russia, television is mostly controlled by the government. But if you're seeking outside information, Telegram channels are the best way to reach them. Is that right?
I would say Telegram channels. I would say certain Russian social media. I'm not going to name and promote here, but, most musical bands and actors know the names of those social media platforms in Russia, and they have presence there. The banned websites, banned statements. I mean, it's easy to ban Instagram or Facebook, but banning every single homepage of every single musical band that has followers in Russia takes time. So we still have time to to prevent it. And, happy story, because I I want to stay positive despite everything. We have been following the destiny of this very famous Instagram cat that we have in Ukraine. So there is this cat in Kharkiv that has over 1 million followers, that has been featured in ads for major worldwide fashion brands. And that cat has been missing for 2 weeks. So the last message was the 3rd of March, I think. And since the cat was in Kharkiv, people got really worried about the cat. Well, there was a message posted today. The cat made it out of Kharkiv, so it spent 10 days with its owner in the cellar in Kharkiv under bombardments, made it out of Kharkiv, made it out to Europe. So the cat is a refugee. But what blew my mind was the fact that the cat is a refugee in Monaco.
Yes.
I got the James Bond vibes and the caviar and the champagne. So there is a Cinderella story. There is a happily ever after all. And, that's something, positive to to brighten the mood a bit.
Igor, you always come on and try to cheer us up with something. How do you stay cheered up? Are you scared now?
Well, I am, but I'm not scared for myself. I'm scared for my family, and I'm scared for the people. I mean, like, look, there's only so many like pictures of dead children you can see before it hits you that, you know, you can't do anything about it. And that's why I feel really sorry for my old boss, for our president, Zelensky. He's a humanist, so, you know, he values human life, and he has to deal with it like on an hourly basis. And, you know, I don't know what it's like. I don't know whether, you know, he can keep doing it without, you know, causing damage to his psyche. But, you know, we have to support him, and please support people of Ukraine, because it's really difficult. Psychologically, it's incredibly difficult. So I'll share the positivity as long as I'm alive here, and as long as I'm here. So.